Hi, I'm Dr. Dickers with Portals, and these videos are a set of videos to talk to those of you that might be considering working together in a co-op, a microschool, or a hybrid setting using Portals in a classroom. And that's a little different than using it in, say, a homeschool setting, and it'll change how you do things. First topic, how do you use project-based learning and what does that look like? As a former classroom teacher and a homeschool dad, I've done project-based learning for over 25 years. Ultimately, it's different than traditional institutional model of schooling or worksheet and test model. Literature-based or project-based learning, which we do with Portals, has a lot to do with getting your hands dirty, doing things, and experiencing things. This comes down to a different way of knowing. If my assessment is to figure out if they've learned a lot of facts and figures, then I'm going to teach in such a way where as many of those that can be memorized as possible is good. But if my goal in education is actual learning or changing the character of a person, then I want them doing and experiencing more things. Project-based learning takes everything you read or learn about and we move directly into a project. So with every single lesson with Portals, there's a project idea. Now, teachers, you don't need to use every project idea. The goal for Portals is that you have a project idea with every lesson every day. 6 subjects, that's 6 project ideas per day. You don't have time to do all of them. You have to make choices, and that's by design. We want you to make choices around what projects you do, or even in a larger classroom setting, you can have different groups of students working on each of the 6 different projects. And in doing that, you create a workplace atmosphere. Generally speaking, moving to a project-based learning school from a traditional institutional model of a school, the biggest shift for teachers is what percentage of time do I spend talking versus what percentage of the time am I interviewing or asking students to do the talking. Just because they're working on projects doesn't mean your job is done as a teacher. Your job is to go around desk to desk and talk to students about what the content is as they're working on the projects. So here's what that might look like. Maybe in a traditional class you lecture or you do a test or you do a review game during the class period. In a project-based learning classroom, you try to keep the reading or the teaching part of the class down to 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. The rest of your hour or the rest of your class time is given over to doing something with the reading. So think of flipping that model a little bit. Do the reading for the class, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And the rest of the class period, the students are working on a project or a project from the day before. And as they're working on the project, you then go around to each student or groups of students and you start asking them about the reading. What do you remember? Repeat it back to me. How does that connect with this other subject? And you're asking some of the think about it questions that are on every Portals lesson plan. So you're mixing that around and essentially you become less of a sage on the stage and more of a guide on the side. You're helping them with their project, but you're always inviting them to use the vocabulary, use the lesson, and talk about it and reflect it back.